Hello, my name is Boone Famuso. This is my project on the Winter War.
Mine is Bucky Barnes.
The Winter War, also known as the Russo-Finnish War, was fought between Russia and Finland
Since when they got
in the years
beef?
of 1939 and 1940. 3 months into World War II, after the German-Soviet non-aggression pact,
Yeah, right.
Finland was afraid that they'd be invaded by Russia.
They were right about it too.
Due to Finland's placement near Russia, Russia's security interests were compromised.
How were they
as
compromised?
Finland had a direct pathway to Leningrad to completely take over Russia, which was their fear.
They don't want the smoke.
So under the leadership of Mr. Molotov,
The cocktail.
the Russians had created or forged some dumb excuse
Blah,
about
blah, blah.
security and whatnot, which wasn't a dumb excuse. It was
It
truthful.
really was.
But it was an excuse nonetheless. And ultimately, Russia invaded Finland.
They big steppers.
But what Russia didn't know was that they were literally taking steps closer to their death.
Are they
as they were
stupid?
ill-prepared, ill-equipped, and poorly led, and clueless to the terrain
Get this man a map.
of Finland and the weather. So ultimately, Finland, for 3 months, held them. 3 months.
That's a mighty
held
long
them.
time.
But all good things must come to an end. After fighting almost 1 million men,
Almost.
Finland was exhausted.
Understatement.
So the Red Army took this chance to come with bombardments and completely destroy their Mannerheim line,
Low
leaving
blow.
the Finns defenseless and the Red Army on the offensive,
Thanks, Captain
charging
Obvious.
straight for their city of
We
Viborg.
run these streets.
And unable to get any help from Britain or France,
They some
the
ops.
Finns had to agree to the Treaty of Moscow,
I'd
which
give
was
up
signed
too.
on March 12th of 1940, which gave Russia rights to the Hanko Peninsula to
But they
build their
lost.
Russian base, effectively ending the Winter War.
Finally.
Despite being Russians, and you would think they'd be used to the cold, but no, when
Facts.
they got to Finland, they were just so unprepared.
Shocker.
They were dying left and right, up and down. Tents were cold, uniforms weren't warm enough.
Those men had
And
to
supplies were
snuggle.
even breaking down because most of it was freezing. I mean, they were kind of screwed.
I mean, they were losing.
And not just their supplies like food and clothing, but even their weapons were affected. I mean, come
They
on.
needed the glukies.
Most of the vehicles and the weapons they brought with them froze. You
Nationwide
would think
can't
that they
help
would,
this time.
have these type of things prepared because they live in Russia, but
In
no.
Russia, we drink
No,
vodka.
when they got to Finland, they were low on ammo and they were having
They
frozen jeeps and stuff, and it was crazy. But I mean, they had no aircraft
It's
on
World
their
War
way
II.
there.
Who don't
It
got a
was-
plane?
It was wild.
Ignore my brain farts for a second.
Okay. The Russian invasion was meant to model Blitzkrieg, which had served the Germans so well in
They
Poland.
lost
A
too.
swift, hard-hitting advance that would use superior resources and technology to overcome resistance.
Had to tell the Franzensel.
But while Poland was open and had a lot of plains, Finland was cold, frozen, and had deep snow.
Ideal
This was
conditions.
no place to try that type of thing. But not just the Russians were learning from this experience. Hitler, watching from Germany, was also learning from this experience.
Hail Hitler.
Or so we thought. Only to find out that he thought he could conquer Russia. Boy, was he wrong.
P.S. I'm not a Nazi.
All in all, the Winter War was a success for Finland.
Was it though?
Barely a success, but a success nonetheless. Seeing as it put a huge dent in the Red Army.
Huge is
And
generous.
managed to keep their country uninvaded.
But they were
Bigger,
invaded.
a more advanced, and a better trained army. Thank you for your
I'd
time.
better make at least an 80 film.